guys, this is Allison Prior, and remember I told you I had 10 ways to start a painting like a pro. Well, I promised that I was going to do a painting based on those that video that I did on 10 ways. So I thought this might be a good example. This is a painting that I did, and you can look at it as you can look at photographs or paintings. You can look at those steps, and then you can start your painting like the pros do, of course. So have a look at this painting that I did, and I'm going to show you. We'll go through the steps that I already mentioned, and then we're going to actually paint this again and go through those steps again, and that way you'll be able to see how the whole system works. So all you need for this painting of the landscape that we're going to do is just some ultramarine blue if you have it, and cad yellow, cad red, sap green, and burnt umber, and white. So, and maybe a bit of black if you need it, but I'm just going to leave it off for now. And that's the colors that you normally use. Doesn't have to be exactly the same, and whatever greens you have, yellows and blues and red, because I don't want you to have to not do the painting if you don't have these exact colors. But they're the most popular colors. And titanium white is also a nice white. Okay, let's put in some of the underpainting for the path. So I'm just putting some red and blue together. Some red and some blue, okay, and some brown, burnt umber, and a little bit of white to brighten it up a little bit, okay. And you get, it doesn't have to be this color. Like I said, you can pick whatever colors you want. When you're following a tutorial, you tend to do what the person is doing, the artist is doing, and showing you, but it doesn't have to be exact, because I know people tell me that they try to get it exactly like the picture or the tutorial, and then they get really, really frustrated. So we got the little piece coming down here, so you just pull that down, and now when you get a little further down, you'll go across, go horizontal. That will give you some little lines, and it'll make it look more horizontal. Back and forth, horizontal, because you're going to get those lines there, which is going to help you a lot. Okay. See? Okay, let's keep putting on that horizontal. Don't be tempted to go and follow the curve. Just go back and forth, horizontal, back and forth. There we go. So this is just a basis to get it all started for our shadows and our highlights. And once you do that, then it'll be much easier for you to figure out that it goes this way and that way. And it won't look off. Once you get your shadows in, if it looks a bit off now, that's okay, because we're going to straighten all that up. Alright, so just go back and forth. So if things look a little off, you're in the early stages of your painting, okay? Your very early stages of your painting. Even if your colors are not right in your very early stages, you can always change your colors or make your colors better the way you think they should be almost at the end of your painting. So right now we're just doing, like I said, underpaintings and putting everything in place, figuring out where everything goes and the shapes. And that way then, when that's all done, then at the end of it you can take everything and go back over it with the colors that you want, because this is just an underpainting, so don't worry too much if your color's not exactly right. So now we have that done. Let that dry, and when that's dry, then we can start the trees. And everything has to be dry when you put your cabin on, okay? So we have some trees here in the background, and we'll put them on next. So for the trees, the tree trunks, we'll do the tree trunks first, and then we'll put our tree trunks on and our limbs and all the good stuff with a flat brush, flat chisel edge brush, okay? Chisel edge almost disappears And you're going to put some brown on your brush, okay? And I think that'll do for now. Two sides, we'll put two sides, because we're trying to establish where we want our trees. So we have a little one over here in the corner, so you can touch and pull up the trunk. Alright, the trunk there. See how easy that is? Like you just establish where you want things when you get your composition and all that stuff in order. And then maybe there's another trunk. Let's see, over here. So we got to leave room for our cabin. So there's another tree over here. And there's, let's see, you can put them wherever you want. Make sure they're not all the same size, that's all. Trunk there. And maybe there's another little one here. And maybe there's another one over here. Now, if we put on our cabin and there's not enough room, we'll just make sure the cabin will go over some of the trees. So we'll just make sure we get enough room. There's plenty of room there for the cabin. And a tree here. Alright. Now that we have our tree trunks done, we can put in some nice branches. And the branches are going to help you figure out where you want to put the tree leaves and things like that. So you just take your liner brush and you make these nice branches coming off. You push a little hard if you want to make them thick, and let's see if I can get you to see it better. Okay, so just make these nice little branches. The liner brush is great for your branches, okay? Load it with your paint, and then these are going to be your guide to where you're going to put your leaves, and add water to your liner brush if it won't move, okay? Good. Now, let's get some of those branches on there. See what I'm saying about doing a painting? Just do one little piece at a time until you get it the way you want it. You know, and take your time. You go through all those 10 steps and you should have no problem coming up with a really nice painting. Now, there's going to be parts of it that might be a little difficult, that you just can't seem to get right. I can see a mistake that I made already. And I'm not going to start it again, but I can see I didn't leave enough room up here for my cabin. So I'm going to make my cabin smaller. Because you don't have to go by the... I could easily adjust it, but I think I'm going to leave it so I can show you that if you need to make adjustments, you can make your cabin smaller. Or you could also put your green smooth grass down further and take all that out and come down further if you want, right? I'll explain as we go along so you have some idea of what you can do if you know, if you make mistakes or if you see something you don't like. Okay. Good. See, just get all those little branches out to help guide you to which way you want your tree, depending on how big. Now you don't want those two trees exactly the same size. I noticed in the picture they're pretty close the same size, so in order to make it more interesting, we'll make one tree bigger than the other. So when we put on the leaves, we'll make one bigger than the other. We don't want them all the same size, so we'll adjust the sizes as we go along. So if you have a picture you're going by, you can make changes. You can take trees out, put them in, different sizes, depending on what you're doing. I mean, you could be doing a still life. You could be doing an animal. When you're doing an animal, you can, depending on what you're putting around it, could be just a plain background. So the animal will be a total focal point, total focal point. It's hard to say. And so just put your leaves on there like that. Good. Yes, your branches. Your branches. We haven't got our leaves on yet. So we'll just keep putting a couple over here just so that we can... Good. Now you have that on, we're going to put on our nice trees. So let's use a bristle brush. Like I say, bristle brushes will give you more texture. So I just have my small one here. It's not the 1-inch one. It's a size. It's pretty small, but you can have a bigger one. Choose a brush that fits what you're doing at the time. Okay, the size of the brush. It's a bristle for texture, and the other chiseled edge brushes are for more of a smooth finish and flowers and sharp lines. But these bristles, these are great for textures, okay, for grass and trees and things like that, clouds. Okay, so keep a note of all this stuff that I'm saying. Now write it down if you have to, pause the video and write down what I'm saying. I'm going to try to make some notes on my video for you. So let's tap into some green for our tree. Now we also want to make a nice dark green, okay? So I got a dark sap green here. So I'm going to use that. I'm also going to add a little bit of blue to that to darken it up even more, okay? I'm darkening it up even more. I might even add a little bit of red. Just add colors to it just to see what it comes out like. So you got some nice tree. There we go. And probably a little bit over here. So use those branches for a guide to help you out. Alright. And it's like an umbrella. Your tree is like an umbrella. Okay, so sort of think of an umbrella. It comes over on this side, comes down on this side, and some in the middle. Alright, keep going. So that's a nice little tree. Well, you can break it down more than that if you want. Depends on how bushy you want it and how big. We can always add more after, like I said. Just get at least get something there. Okay, just get something there to show that there's a tree there. At the end of the painting, you can go back and do more highlights and more shaping up of your tree. You got to get the shape. Shapes are very important. It has to look like a tree. So let's put another one over here. Now see how I'm using. Let's see if I can get you closer so you can see what I'm doing. So see how I'm using those branches that I made for a guide. Okay. Good. Boy, I'm noisy, aren't I? Okay, so I'm going to use that branch there, there, and I'm going to think of the umbrella effect, and here. So we'll say that's one tree up here. You make your trees whatever way you want. Just get the shapes of trees that you want. We'll make a smaller tree over here, except for interest. Okay, so that tree there looks like it's too thick and it needs to be adjusted. Okay, so just bring it up a little bit more, make it thicker. And we'll bring this one over here, and we'll make one taller than the other so that it won't look too symmetrical. Right up into the sky and over here. So you got one a little taller than the other, okay? See that? See how I adjusted that? And you might have gotten in trouble and said, oh no, how am I going to fix that? Well, just think of one being smaller than the other. Think of the umbrella. And let's try another one. This one over here, we can make that into a nice dark tree. You know what we could do with that one there? Be fun. Let's try this. Let's make this one into a red tree, just for a bit of fun. So tap into your red. We still want your red. We still want a dark red first. All right. I'm going to add a little bit of blue to that to darken it up. And we will have a red tree over here for a change. All right, so use your branches for a guide. So just tap on your branches first, and then you can think about your umbrella. Okay, and then bring some branches down here. So you got a little tree, not all the same size. See, they're all different sizes. And when we highlight them, some be thicker than others. The one on the end over here, I think I may make that a little thicker when I put the cabin in. So, like I said, you got to think ahead also, right? Think ahead. Think. If you think about it, think about your painting, it will help you better. You know? Now, it's coming along. See, we're getting everything that we need. Keep in mind all those 10 tips that I gave you on how to start a painting and what to look for. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is before we move on to our cabin, I'm just going to put a little bit of highlight on here so I can show you now where the lights and the shadows are. Alright, so let's add a little bit of yellow to our green that we made, just to brighten it up, because we have what we have right here is one value. So now we're going to put a second value on, which is a lighter green. Okay, and just tap over, and where's the light coming from? The sun is coming from the right to hit on the right side of these trees here, and maybe a little bit of top up here. Like I said, we're not there, so we don't know, but we're going to have to decide. So put on, see, and what that will do is also bring the tree to life even more. Okay, so there we go. I want to get you to be able to see. Let's try these two first before we go to the red one. So, alright. I want to get that. I don't have a camera person. If I start making lots of money one of these days, I'll hire somebody. Okay, let's go. So as you can see, I'm just tapping on over what I already just did, and I'm leaving most of the darks underneath, alright? So now you don't have to think about it. All you have to do is tap over what you already did. So you don't have to think about it. Once you get your shape, you don't have to think about it too much. You just put on your second value, or what you already did. What's going on with my voice? Okay, so put on some more, and like I say, when I get my cabin on, I may put more leaves and things there. I'm gonna see. That's my decision, so don't forget, you're making your own decisions. You're making your own decisions. Don't let the picture make your decisions for you, okay? Take control of the picture, the paints, and the brushes. Now, the light is shining over here on this tree right here. And I'm putting on some paint to bring it out a bit more. And this is only our second value yet, okay? Second value on this one here. And I'm leaving some of the darks. You can see that. See how that shapes up the tree more? Good. Now we'll put our third value on, but we may later. We come back. When we get everything done, we might come back and do this. We will come back and we'll do small details. All the small details are going to be last. But right now we're just trying to shape up the trees and find out where the light is coming from. So now we'll take our lightest value, which is just yellow, tap into some yellow. I don't know if you need me to show you that or not. I'm just tapping into yellow. I'm not doing anything fancy. Just tap, 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 tap. Okay. And I got a dirty brush, so it won't be too bright, because we can save that for our final highlights. Now I'm just going to put some more highlight just on the edge here, just on the right, only because I'm just trying to establish where the sun is hitting. Okay, see, there we go, and that's that. So we leave that for now. That's the green trees. Let's go over to the red one and see what we need over here. All right. So what we'll do with the red tree is we have our first value, and then we'll put a second value on, which is a brighter red. And we don't know where the sun is hitting off of that. We can imagine if you had a photograph and light was all there for you, then it would be easier. But you can also say, well, I don't like the light there, I'll put it somewhere else. So the sun is hitting off these guys up here, and it's probably hitting off a little bit up here, do you think? So we're doing our second value, so we'll tap out here in a little bit. Alright, and if you want more leaves coming down, you can certainly add them. And we'll put on our third value, which is some red and a little bit of white. Alright, it's nice and bright. And we'll put that thinking that there's some brights up here. We don't know for sure. We're just going to make it up as we go along. Alright. If they're too bright, just go back and put the original color in. Now, another thing I want to explain to you is if you make a really bad mistake and you can't stand one of those trees or whatever, you can wipe it out, but you'd have to do a bit of work. You would have to paint over your sky here, put your clouds back in, put the green back in here. You paint over it, but it's a lot of work for doing that. But if you don't like, say you didn't like this here, the reds, then you can go back to your original red color and start over and put your three values on top of that. Same with your green trees.